I can't believe it. Here we are.
I can't either. We actually made it after 17 months.
Shock, horror.
Right?
Here we are. Can you believe it? We are coming live tonight from the Wicked Women studio, and the next week, the next time we do it, will be coming from the captain's cabin.
That's right. And so we are. This is, by the way, folks, Robertson. And most of you who have been our regular followers, you followed us for a year and a half worth of shows. And then toward the end of 2023, there were some health problems. And then I was out most of last year. And here we are now, reviving the show finally. And Wendy, may I open this show the same way we have always opened it, with me saying, "You are lovely this evening."
Thank you, my love.
You're welcome.
Well, in case you didn't wear, I was actually wearing this on the first episode we actually did.
Yes.
With Robertson. And when we talked about when we were going to come back, we were deciding what we were going to look at. And we wanted to bring a whole different feel, a whole different energy to the show. And last time, I was kind of the student and you were the master. And now it's kind of like a bit equal footing, because this has become second nature to me.
That's right. And you can lead the way today.
I'm in control, baby.
You're in control, baby. All right.
So, I mean, yes, as we're saying, it's been 17 months since we've been here. And we did a lot of shows. This is called Brace Yourselves, because it's about bringing us back. Bring us back. We did a lot of shows. We did some paranormal. We did history, and we did relationships. And that seemed to be our niche, wasn't it? It was that people seemed to be more. They liked our take on it.
They certainly did, and I think our Robertson became almost a show that was about relationship, sex. I'm not talking X-rated adult sex. I'm talking sexual behavior, psychological behavior, all surrounding relationships. And that's what we became, slow but sure. Although we wanted to do many other categories, that seemed to be the thing everybody was asking for.
Yeah.
And so we focused on that.
It was like people would then send us a topic. Can you cover this? Can you do this? And we'd be like, okay, then. But looking back, we had some really, really good shows, and it's interesting. I was going through them the other day, looking at where we were and where we are now. Because the reason that also this Robertson, as we call it, a new era, has a different energy is because you and I, for the first time, sit on the same side of the table as equals in doing the podcast, although you have a lot more experience than me, but also the fact that we're both single now, babe.
That's I'm sorry, I was reading somebody's comment. You said what your last sentence was?
And we're both single now.
Oh, yeah, almost.
I've been single for a while.
Yeah, you have.
Welcome to my world, babe. Welcome to my world.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like doesn't feel any different yet, except I'm single. I'm all alone in my house.
It's a bit of a shock, isn't it, when you become single? But as time goes on, it isn't so bad, and there's good things and bad things about being single. And what we covered we covered looking at the first show that we did. You said, I can't possibly understand where you're coming from, because I haven't been in that position for so long. And I was like, that's true. And now we're like soulmates on both sides of the whole podcast side and the being single. And also as well, let me say, you're looking pretty fine tonight, Scotty.
Why, thank you, ma'am. And I don't know if I said it already. You look absolutely stunning and beautiful tonight.
Well, Michael thinks I look like the whole Princess Diana going on, so that's a compliment.
Well, it's nice to sit beside you. And look,
yes,
we matched.
We do.
So.
And I do like the red with the blue, honey.
Thank you.
It looks really, really good. And, people might have seen this whole Scottish kind of theme that we've
yes.
brought in, and we thought we would do, and that's something we will be looking at further on down the line, is our Scottish heritage, because we're both Scottish heritage, and that's something I've never done. I've never actually gone further down that line, so we might be looking at some few history.
Well, I am primarily Welsh, and we've got some Scottish in there from the Robertsons, who were, how about that? Hey, we're kinfolk.
I know. Just remember that I'm the son of Robertson.
That's right. Just knock out my front teeth and dress me in plaid.
Exactly.
Give me a banjo, set me on the porch. Yeah. And so Robertson, we were from the Duncan clan, and it was Duncan. Wasn't he one of the sons or grandsons of Robert the Bruce?
I think so.
If I'm not mistaken.
The Robertsons really, and the Roberts were really close to Robert the Bruce.
And it was, I think the king was Robert, if I'm not mistaken. And it was two members of the Duncan clan, two of the sons that thwarted a would-be assassination of him.
Yes.
And so he elevated them in status and bestowed upon the Duncan clan the name Robertson, Robert's son. So that's kind of where our tie-in is in Scotland. I do have a plaid. I have the Roberts of Wales.
To get one. Plaid. I need to have one. I mean, literally, now, Robertson was my married name, and I've had it for so long now that I actually don't associate it with that at all. I actually feel like I am Wendy Robertson.
Yes.
Although my maiden name actually has Scottish links too. But the thing about Robertson and Roberts, they came from the Highlands of Scotland, and I think if I pronounce this right, it is strongly linked to Clan. I'm gonna.
Donachade.
That's the one.
That's it.
Which is also known as Clan Robertson, whose name means children of Duncan.
That's it.
And it goes back to the medieval period as well. And apparently it's one of the most popular names back then in Scotland.
Scotland.
And also, the thing about Robertson is that it was son of Robert. So that's where the Roberts come from. So it's really interesting that you and I have the same name, but I just have the O-N on it there.
Yeah. Now, my family heritage, I've traced my ancestors, and some of our regular listeners know this. I've told this story before. I've traced them back all the way to 1710, that John Robards came over from Wales in 1710, settled in Goochland, Virginia, and all his five grandsons fought in the American Revolution on the colonial side and the winning side. And somewhere along the way, while they were vouching for each other for their pensions, the clerk in the court translated with their accents Robards to Roberts. So we've been Roberts since the late 1700s, early 1800s. But now I trace the same family back. I have traced this all the way back to about 1430, I think.
Wow.
And it was Roberts again. It was Roberts in London. And only they spelled it Robbertts. So there you go.
it's interesting, like two bloodlines, one legacy. Like the Roberts and the Robertsons seem to come from that time. Now, obviously, I'm married into the clan, and I'm trying to pronounce the actual motto, which is Virtutis Gloria Massey. I think that's how it's pronounced, which means glory is the reward of valor. And from what I know of the Robertson clan and looking at some of the connections between you and I, they were quite bloody. They were loyal, they were fierce, but they were very bold, and not afraid to pick a side either, because back then Scotland was so much war and fighting amongst themselves. And no wonder who they were fighting against.
Oh, well, sometimes it was just because they could, and there was also the, well, of course, they always had issues with the English, and so they were constantly fighting the English, constantly fighting other.
I have no idea why. Why would they want to fight us? We're lovely.
Yes, you're so lovely. And but they were known as warriors. Even here, with the reenacting that I have done with the 42nd Royal Highlanders during the French and Indian War, we're talking the 1750s, late 1750s, and at Fort Ticonderoga in upstate New York here, that was a fort that was held by the French, and it was known as Fort Carillon back then. Right. And so the British forces surrounded that fort and besieged it and fought, and there was bloody battles going on. And the Scots, the 42nd Royal Highlanders, they stormed one part of the wall. Meanwhile, General Abercrombie hightailed out of there, called a retreat, and the word did not get to the Scots, and they kept fighting on the wall without any support from anywhere else. And about 1,200 Scots, part of the 42nd Highlanders, were killed that day. And if you go to Fort Ticonderoga now, you can find the old fort, of course, is still there, but the old ramparts, the battlements that were trenches that were dug in the battlements all the way around the fort. And you can walk along the top of that, and you come to the corner where it drops down to the lake. And it's all forest there now. But when you stand on that corner and you look out into the woods right here, there's even a law there that you can't even put a spoon in the ground for fear that you'll dig up something, because there's 1,200 dead bodies under there, or at least some. And it was Montcalm, the French general, who, after they won that battle, he gathered up all the Scots, all the British, all the French, and buried them in one common grave. And his officers were complaining, "Oh, mon Dieu, why would you bury us all in one grave, huh?" And he said, "I have done what I've done." And he says, "We honor them all." And he erected this big red cross. And there's a replica of it standing there today. But that's the place where we stood at about 11 o'clock at night on those battlements, facing that field. And our bagpiper from our group played Amazing Grace. And we recited the soldier's prayer. And we stood in a moment of silence, and the woods filled with will-o'-wisp. And they followed us all the way out to the Red Cross. So anyway, I rabbit trailed. I digress.
I would love to see that. Now, I have been up to Melrose and Edinburgh, but there's so much more I'd love to go and see. Scotland calls to me, and I think it's because of the mountains and the history as well. But one thing I was interested in looking in was Highland clan history, because, it's soaked in romance, loyalty, forbidden love, Jacobite devotion, and women who held entire estates together while the men were out at war. And that's very true, isn't it? Men go out to war, women have to take control. Right. They look after the home, the estate, the family, the children. And I looked up some because I thought, is there kind of some stories with Robertson which have and I managed to find a few here, and it was like in 1745, the Jacobite Rising, many Highland clans, including branches of the Robertsons, backed Prince Charles, Bonnie Prince Charlie, Edward Stuart. So imagine, you know,
Jacobite king.
He was. He rides south to fight. His wife remains in Perthshire, managing the land. She doesn't know if he will return. If the rebellion fails, their lands could be taken, their name could be ruined, and she waits. And that's what they did, because in those days, love wasn't letters and poetry. You couldn't send a letter out or an email or a text message to someone. You had to wait. And it was loyalty under threat. Like, you didn't know if when your man went out to war, if when he came, if you suddenly see the army of the opposite side coming at you, you know what you could be facing. I mean, a lot of women were attacked and raped, and and all kinds of things by the other side. But as a wife of a Highlander, you would keep the hearth burning, and it was risking everything for what you believed in. And I think that's the strength about Scotland. I almost want to say Scotland every time I say it. That's the thing about Scotland. There is this endurance, this power with the country. And when you go up there, and I have been to Edinburgh, and when I went up there, they have the castle on the hill, and they had a piper, a lone piper, and he was playing, and I'm telling you, every single hair went up on my arms. It was like forbidden tunes on forbidden pipes, I mean, so amazing.
Yes. Hawk says that's a perfect story for a cup of tea and cake.
You gotta have cake, right?
That's right.
But I think also as well, a lot of, looking back at the Highlands, a lot of women became widows very, very young, because if you didn't go and fight, you were seen as, a traitor, a coward. So, and let me tell you, that was fighting back then, wasn't it, Scotty? I mean, there was no laser and guns and that lot. It was like face to face, body to body, right in front of each other.
Well, I just happen to have sitting right here something that is from that period in the 1700s. Now, I don't have a flint in this.
Totally jealous.
But that's my my 72 caliber King's Longland Firelock musket, and you can put it full cock, put in your powder, close the pan, and then now that's at safety, and then you bring the full cock to fire. So I'll just release it there. But there you go. That is the kind of weapon, one of them anyway, other than the swords that they would use. So
I'm so jealous, because literally I would love to have something like that, because
I'll have to take you shooting. You'll have to shoot that.
Let's bring it on. And also I have to go back to the motherland to actually see where my family, came from.
Right.
And also, the thing about the clan marriages back then, you were married to increase your power. You were married to keep families together. You were married because it stopped war. It kept things politically. They're on my side because we've married into them. So there'd be the top of the clan, and then you'd have all the other little clans that would, give their loyalty. But back then, if you married someone, it really wasn't disposable. It was binding,
right?
Reputation, and it was keeping the bloodline going.
That's right. And if there was a death of the husband, there would be somebody in the family that would have to pick up. And if they didn't, the wife was cast out. So. And
also the children were really important back then, because obviously they carried the legacy, son of, and I think when you sort of watch programs like Outlander, or you see films like Highlander and stuff like that, although there's a fantasy side to it, the one thing it shows about how loyal the relationships were, the marriages were, in a lot of ways, to their struggle, to Scotland, to their clan. They might have been loyal to each other always. Yeah. Scotland, they were always loyal. right?
I always have I'm always channeling Sean Connery.
Why
When
not?
I say Scotland, he says Scotland. He say, remember, Highlander, when your head leaves your neck, it's over.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree with you. And I mean, I look back at Highlander and one thing that got me about Highlander was the castle they lived in. This little tiny castle. And when they actually, Sean Connery died, I've forgotten his name, the one who killed him.
The Kurgan.
Yes, the Kurgan. And you see he's standing like high up in the castle. Honestly. Fascinating. So like for me to come, even to be related to this great bloodline is quite something, although my own bloodline is Scottish descent as well.
Scottish.
And I need to actually check that out because my maiden name is Dunning, and I don't often bring that name out, but there is a town called Dunning in Scotland. It's in Perthshire, which is kind of funny. And there actually is, I believe, there was a terrible burning of an innocent woman accused of being a witch.
Which I remember that from Outlander. They showed a scene of that a woman who was burned. So.
I mean, women didn't have much luck those days because if witchcraft was everything was so religious, very, very religious. And so if you stepped out of line, especially as a woman, you could be cast out, accused of witchcraft, all kinds of things. And the name Dunning, which apparently is my maiden name, it means fort of the little hill or hill of the fortress. And I'm like, I need to check that out. But the one I want to look at is like, why, when you see these programs like Outlander, Highlander, etc., obviously the men are gorgeous in it. They always have gorgeous men.
Oh, sure.
They've always got the long hair and the sort of
blowing in the wind,
the tartan going across.
Right.
When they have the sex scenes, we just pull up the skirt and they have the little stockings on.
Well, that's right.
And I'm like, really? Is that true? Because I have to be honest, it's very attractive. I wouldn't mind giving it a
go.
Well, I mean,
go ahead. Ask me the question. Ask me what a real Scotsman wears beneath his kilt.
Well, I believe it's nothing, right?
Well, you have to ask me.
Oh, okay. What does a real Scotsman wear underneath his kilt?
Oh, well, why, my socks and shoes, of course. There you go.
Being incredibly cold, right? Incredibly cold.
It can be. I was outside marching in a parade with a kilted group that we were with, probably the regiment. It was the Minneapolis parade, the Winter Aquatennial, and or the Winter Carnival in St. Paul, and we're marching, and it was with the wind chill 20 below zero, and people still came out and lined the streets for the parade, and we're all in our kilts. We're all bundled up on top, with our wools and all that, but we had bare legs, and on March 17th, it actually fell to, no, that wasn't, no, I'm thinking St. Paddy's Day. That was before that. Winter Carnival days. So, yeah. So, it's air conditioned in the summer, and it actually has a little bit of heat in the winter.
I'd love to have a kilt. My mum used to put me in one when I was really, really small, and I hated it because it was itchy and scratchy. And I spent the whole time like pulling it down and going, no.
Right.
Now, I'd love to do the whole Scottish thing, the whole wedding thing. We got the clan across.
Yeah.
That would be so amazing. You mentioned Robert the Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to bring up about, he had there was quite a few Robert the Bruces.
Right.
But I'm bringing up the Robert the Bruce of 1302, who married Elizabeth de Burgh.
That would have been Robert the Bruce associated with William Wallace in 1302.
When Bruce rebelled against England and was crowned King of Scots in 1306, England retaliated. Well, of course we would. retaliated hard. And England, Elizabeth was captured by the English and imprisoned for years. So they captured his wife, and she paid, literally, she paid for that war by being imprisoned. Right. You marry a guy, he gets crowned King of Kings, and then you get locked up in a cage for it for years. And she endured imprisonment until 1314 after Bruce's victory at Bannockburn, very famous battle. I mean, that is loyalty, isn't it? That
yes,
to be kept under lock and key just because of who you're married to.
Right. Yeah.
I never knew that story. I never knew that they took his wife. I didn't know. Were you aware of that?
I was aware of that. I don't know the history intimately, but I did know that they took his wife.
There's always been this thing about England and Scotland, England and Wales, England and Ireland. We seem to have this lovely reputation of like our neighbours. Like we've had battles and fights because clans, or tribes. Down in England, you would have had different tribes. But eventually, in medieval times, Scotland and England married for, to keep the peace. And one of them was, I believe it's James, I never get this right, but I think it's James V or something like that, of Scotland, married Margaret Tudor. Now, she was Henry VIII's sister.
James V was... he died not long after the Battle of Solway Moss, which was 1542. And that was about the time that Mary, Queen of Scots, was born.
Yeah, well,
she was just a few weeks old.
Margaret Tudor, she didn't want to marry him. She didn't want to go to Scotland because she was very young, and she was told, you're going to be a queen. And also, you've got to keep the peace between England and Scotland. That's quite a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
On, a young, because she was the daughter of Henry VII. So it was supposed to bring peace, but it didn't. And in 1513, James invaded England and was killed at the Battle of Flodden, which is another famous battle.
Flodden Field.
She became a widow at 24. Apparently, through their marriage, through the Scottish and English crowns eventually uniting when Queen Elizabeth I passed away, under her great-grandson, who was James VI, and the first of England. So really, that's quite a story, that she never wanted to marry him. She did love him, and then they had James VI, but sadly she was a widow. And wasn't that the one that Catherine of Aragon, she went into battle? Was Henry away and Catherine went into battle, and she wanted his head, but she had to make do with his cape or his coat instead. And she sent the coat out to Henry to say, look, I think she was heavily pregnant at the time, Catherine of Aragon. She was regent of England. And literally she had armor on, like, being a pregnant woman. And she was like, she came from Isabella of Spain. She wasn't worried about getting into battle. So it's interesting that these women that are always seen as, just be quiet, don't, do what you're supposed to do, give us a child, etc. They're quite warriors, some of these women.
Yes. And the Scots, and well, she was Spanish. But wasn't Catherine of Aragon the mother of Anne Boleyn?
No, she was the first wife of Henry VIII, and her daughter was Mary Bloody Tudor.
Oh, yes, Mary Tudor. I skipped a generation there when I went to Anne Boleyn.
The daughter, the wife.
I met Mary Tudor, who was married off to Philip of Spain.
Yes.
She didn't want to marry him. Well, he said she was grotesque.
He was Catholic.
Yeah. And he did not like her at all.
No.
And, but yeah, she was known as Mary, Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? With what is it? Tinkerbells and cockle shells and Pretty Maids all in a row.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bloody Mary.
England and Scotland have always had this difficult relationship. And when you go up there today and you're a Sassenach, which of course, even though I've got the bloodline, I'm a Sassenach. And when I go there, they're lovely, really, really friendly, lovely people. But of course, I am still seen as English because when I open my mouth, that's
Sassenach.
Sassenach. Absolutely. But literally looking back, Henry VIII, wife, Catherine of Aragon, to go into battle pregnant, risking a future heir to the throne of England. And she still went, I've got to take my hat off to her. That's awesome.
Yes, it is. And let's see. What was I going to say about her? Margaret married to James V. They said he died of a broken heart is what they attributed to, not killed in battle. That he was ill or something. That's what they say.
I don't think he died straight away. Well, they're saying he didn't die straight away, but there's two stories. One that he got back and died. One that he died in battle. Who knows, really?
Interesting. It's funny. This is just anecdotal, has nothing to do with what you're talking about, other than similar in theme. I had a very vivid dream. God, it had to be a year ago or so, maybe more. And I was in myself. I wasn't observing. And I was dressed. It was sometime in the 16th century, 1500s. And I was dressed appropriately. And I had long hair, brown hair. I was much younger. And facial hair and my swords. And I was bloodied and beat up. And it was just misty rain coming down. And it was wet. And
oh, your mic just died.
It's been liking to do that lately. Okay. I've got an equipment tech issue. And so walking down this long lane, and there's a tall tower castle that I'm walking toward with the hills behind it and the forest and the low clouds and the mist. And I come into the castle and I push open this big oak door, and there's a woman in kind of a brown dress. And she asks right away, she just looks at me and she goes, "Word of Kenton?" And I said, "He fell in battle." And I'm looking around the room and there's all these men, Scots, dressed very similar to me, that were all wounded and dying and swords on the floor and wet and mud. And that's all the dream was. And that's all I remembered.
How amazing. I mean, it was vivid, right?
Vivid is all heck. So heck. But vivid as hell.
I gotta say, men were men back then. There was something really sexy about the kind of. I mean, obviously the smell would not have been great, nor would the teeth be very interesting, because there wasn't really any dentist, and you would have absolutely had terrible teeth.
Right.
And having them knocked out, your breath would have smelled. A lot of people would have had body odor. It's not always, and especially if you were young and you had to marry an older Scottish lord or something, right. I imagine you were probably thinking, please don't do this.
I'm sure they didn't bathe every day.
No, they didn't. And also, a lot of them carried a lot of sexual diseases, which wasn't the nicest thing at all. And but I think there's something about this sexy image of the tart the beard, the hair, and the accent. The accent is to die for. I mean, I still think the Scottish accent is one of the most sexiest.
Well, there. Yeah. What am I supposed to do with that line?
Well, you're just going to have to learn it, aren't you?
I guess I'm going to have to. Guess I'll have to talk with a Scottish accent now.
Well, you're going to have to, listen to Sean a lot more.
Yes.
The thing about Scottish marriage is that marriage was political currency. I mean, it was about, what are you bringing to me? If I'm going to marry my son and daughters to you, what is this going to bring me? Am I going to get power? Am I going to get land? Am I going to get money? Am I going to get titles? And love was secondary. It wasn't always absent, but it was secondary. You might have fallen in love down the road, but a lot of them were about, you're going to marry, and whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. Yep. I think that must have been, what if you'd fallen in love with someone, but you couldn't be with them because they'd been promised to someone else? I mean, let's not even think about Longshanks, Edward Longshanks, what he did in,
right.
What
Prima nocta.
Yeah, if we can't get them out, we'll breed them out.
I think there's some dispute over whether or not he actually did that.
Sure.
But I do know that there is a quote of his that was in the movie Braveheart that he actually said in council. He says, "The problem with Scotland is that it's full of Scots." So breed them out.
And also they didn't expect that day on the battlefield, they didn't expect those Scots that were less than the English that day. They didn't expect to get their asses beaten and handed to them and got their freedom. They, and although we still bring down that lovely, is it oh my God, you put it under the throne.
Paranormal Reality TV, by the way, before he goes, he says, "Have a great show, guys. Scotty, I prefer not seeing you in a suit. LOL." Paranormal Reality TV, I do believe, is James V. Johnson.
Oh,
he was the publisher of Taps Paramagazine while I was the editor-in-chief many years ago now. So good to see you, Jimmy. I'm glad you made it in here.
Well, it's quite nice. But I mean, can you imagine like the first night of if that was true?
Yeah.
You were due to marry someone, or you just married the man that you love or whatever. And the next thing you know, the English lords come down and gone.
Right.
That must have been awful. Absolutely awful. And obviously Scotland being Catholic for so many years. And they had major influences in Scotland, which is where you get the Mary Queen of Scots, because she went out to France to marry the potential King of France who died, and then she was sent back, right?
Yep. And she was raised in Italy.
Mm.
And so was it Italy or France? No, France, because her mother was French.
It was Catherine de Medici who was her mother-in-law.
Yes, and I thought Margaret Tudor, married to James V, was French.
No, Margaret Tudor was
Spanish.
Henry VIII's sister, Henry VII's daughter.
Right. Oh, okay. Right.
Because at the end of the day,
she was English.
One thing I know is Tudor history.
Yes.
It's
that's
one
right.
of my favorite things to do. But the thing is, I was looking for some facts about marriage and relationships in Scotland. I keep saying it, Scotland.
Scotland. It comes out better after you had. You got to drink some scotch and smoke a pipe, and then your accent starts.
Wear a kilt, be out in the wilds.
That's right.
There's a twist though, because obviously sex was considered acceptable within marriage for procreation. It was a duty in marriage. If you didn't do your duty, you're no good.
Right.
But here's the twist. Medieval Scotland law actually recognized consent in marriage more than many people assume. So, for instance, a marriage could be legally binding simply by two people declaring mutual consent, even without a priest. So, like, they bound themselves to each other. I bind myself to you. They, and they'd wrap their tartan around, and that's how they do it. So, technically, if a couple exchanged vows privately and consummated the relationship, it was valid. It was like sex was a legal seal. And how weird is that?
That's very weird. Now, I will say this. Hawk just said, the fuck? A duty? And I'll tell you this, that I have been known to say, in talking about relationships, that there are duties that men and women have. And sometimes it's the man's duty to do this and this and this, to love his wife, to provide for his family, and so on. Maybe that sounds old-fashioned, but that women have duties as well. And sometimes that's, keep your man happy, if you know what I mean. And it was never meant, when I said it, to be a duty like they had in Scotland. It was things that we put ourselves willfully into because we cared about the other person.
But sometimes women are in the same boat as well.
Yes.
Like they go, I should know, speak from experience. You get married and it just doesn't happen.
Right.
And you end up living with a roommate. I mean, but back then, if you weren't doing it, you had to be there. You had to be in the other. I mean, I'm sure if you were married to Henry VIII, when he was a big lad, that wouldn't have been enjoyable at all.
No.
But what I was talking about was hand fasting, which is really interesting because pagan, witchcraft, Wiccan, hand fasting, where you betroth yourselves to each other by the two hands being joined.
Yes.
And it was seen as legal. And apparently, hand fasting in certain parts of Scotland was a trial marriage lasting a year and a day. So you could actually live with someone in certain parts for a year and a day and not actually be officially married.
Right.
Now, how different is that to the UK? Really different.
Yeah.
Basically, love, we can live together for a year and a day. And if it doesn't work out, it's all right.
That's it. It's done. See ya.
We'll move on to the next one.
Right.
So, I mean, I actually think there was no such thing as birth control. You didn't have birth control. Well, birth control would probably be withdrawal or just don't do it, because you would have children and child after child after child, right?
Yeah.
It's all about keeping that family going.
Right.
Times
have changed.
Just looking down at some of that. So adultery in Scottish marriage as well, was not tolerated, not surprisingly. And if you imagine Scotland back then, although we look at it with a fantasy point of view, it was cold. It was really damp. It was overcrowded. There was hardly any privacy. You might live with your family and your mother and their cousins and their children, and you might have a little tiny bit for you. I mean, that would just be, my mum talks about one of my grandparents saying that when they got married, they lived in a house with various members of family, and they only had a little tiny bit for privacy.
Right.
So we complain these days when we don't get much privacy. But imagine being in a house full of 8 to 12 people, and you're like, hear it. You'd hear it.
No, I couldn't imagine that. Mom and Dad are going behind this blanket hanging over this doorway. Do not come in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that I'm very proud to be part of this clan, this bloodline, but also at the same time, it was bloody hard in those days. And I think when we go up there now and we stand on those battlefields, or we go in those castles and we look at these pictures, especially like someone like Mary, Queen of Scots, these people lived, died, and bled. They lost people they loved. And we now read about them in a history book or a television series. But, for me, it's always, when I go up there, is to feel the energy of the place, to see where these people live.
Right.
Did you feel like when you went to Scotland, what was the place that you felt, I have to go and see? I'm drawn to it.
Glencoe. And I remember standing, and everybody, you'll know Glencoe. It's one of the most photographed and used in the movies and things like that, scenes in Scotland, with the big mountain that comes up and slopes down in. And the valley there. And it was the clan MacDonald was all murdered there.
Wow.
And by the king's soldiers, because according to them, and the way information traveled, without getting into the whole history of that, that's another story. Something was missed in the traveling of letters, and they did not swear fealty by a certain time, and the king's forces fell on them and killed them all.
Wow.
Out of their cottages, and killed all the men and anybody of fighting age. They left most of the women alive. And so I walked into that glen, and you have the big mountains on either side of you, and the craggy hills and the creek, and it was palpable. You could feel it.
The energy.
Yep. And so that was a place I wanted to see. I saw it. I did not see Culloden Moor. I was in Inverness, but we didn't go to. When I was there, I didn't know anything about Culloden. I hadn't studied that history yet. So the last I was in Scotland was in 1989 or 90. I was 29 years old, and I just hadn't studied Scottish history yet. And so we were so close to where the Battle of Culloden Moor took place in 1746, which pretty much shut down the clan system forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so awful, isn't it, that you look back and you think, there's the blood that was shed on the land, and
Right.
it was. I mean, I can see why they wanted their own king. I can see why they wanted their king back, because for them, Bonnie Prince Charlie was, he was their rightful king. Because England obviously went, no, not that. You're going to marry into us, and eventually the two countries became united. Hence why we have the words now United Kingdom. But I can see why they wanted that. And obviously after they lost that battle, and they there was a lot of fight and spirit went out of them, which was so sad. When looking at some of the clans, I was looking at where Robertson stands in the toughest clans, because some of them were real. You wouldn't want to fuck with them in any shape.
Oh. And they're from Aberfeldy, are they not? Loch Tay.
Which
Aberfeldy, the Robertsons.
Well, I was just actually checking that out. Apparently, they're from Perthshire, or Perthshire as we call it. Everyone's because of the Shire, but Perthshire, Central Highlands. So they're Highlanders.
That's it.
And they weren't island raiders. They weren't political chess players, but they were land-based Highland fighters. They fought repeatedly, and they supported Robert the Bruce during the wars of Scottish independence and the Jacobite cause.
And there were Jacobites.
But I was looking, and obviously, Culloden was devastating for the Highland clans. And after the defeat, Jacobite supporters faced punishment, loss of land, and suppression of Highland culture. And the Robertsons, they took a lot of the hit with the rest as well. They were known for their loyalty, honour, strong authority, and Highland resilience. And the clan chief was a Jacobite supporter, and he went into exile after the uprising because, that's not being funny, it was the safest thing to do. Looking at some of the hardest clans, though, everyone talks about the toughest ones. One of them, who's known to be the toughest clan, is Clan MacDonald. It comes up as number one as the toughest clan. They were absolutely massive and powerful, and they controlled huge parts of Scotland and the islands, and they fought against the crown repeatedly. They dominated the sea. They hated even the kings of Scotland. They would rival them. They were a political force. So, and I'm related. Well, my ex-husband was actually Campbell and Robertson, and Campbell second best, nasty, mean, awesome. clans, they were calculating. The Campbells they backed the crown when they had to. They expanded their land aggressively. And some saw them as ruthless opponents, others as politically brilliant. Because sometimes, Scotty, when you're tough, it doesn't mean that you're loud. It means you're strategic.
That's right.
So you must have heard about the McDonalds and the Campbells as well.
Oh, certainly. And wasn't another famous Scottish figure, Rob Roy McGregor? He was married to a Campbell. And so, are you Rob Roy McGregor? I am. I have business with you. What kind of business is that? Business best done outside. Lines from a movie.
Wasn't that Liam Neeson?
Liam Neeson played...
he played him very, very well.
Yes, he did.
I remember. For an Irishman, he did it pretty good.
And by the way, that was a great movie. It came out in 95, I believe. Rob Roy with Liam Neeson. But if you look for an old black and white version of that movie made by Disney back in the 50s, that was a much more historically accurate telling of the tale of Rob Roy.
Really?
And it was really well done. And so you had to look that up. Carlene Smith says we were McGregor.
It's interesting we're talking about Highlander because one of the next clans that was powerful was Clan MacLeod. MacLeod. And they used to fight the McDonald's all the time.
Yes.
And they were always fighting because they had the Isle of Skye, which I've never been to, but I hear is absolutely beautiful.
I have a friend who is, she is part of the MacLeods, and she is, I think it's her uncle right now, is set in the line to be the next chieftain of the Clan MacLeod. And there's so much political intrigue, she might end up being the countess.
That's awesome.
The leader of the chieftain of the clan.
Yeah.
And she said, I wouldn't take it. She's American, but her family's all in Scotland.
Oh my God, I would take it tomorrow.
I would too. I said I'd take it so I'd get a cool castle.
When I got married to my second husband, we had a piper, and there's something about those pipes and those tunes. It just, oh my God, like, they piped me in, and it was just
that's cool,
so loud, but it was so awesome. And I remember he played when we came out from our wedding. He stayed outside and he carried on. He carried on playing, and I didn't want him to stop. It was almost like, when people say to me, the Impala's the best part of the wedding. That's how I felt about the piper. I was like, no, you can't go. Carry on. But I think Carlene's just brought up Clan MacGregor, and they're known as one of the toughest by sheer endurance. They were always having fights with the Campbells. And the MacGregor name, which I didn't know, the MacGregor name was outlawed in the 1600s.
Yes, it was. And that was, there was a thing with Rob Roy McGregor losing his name.
Yeah.
It was played up a little bit in Rob Roy with Liam Neeson. It was much more in the older movie. And he went and petitioned King George, German George.
Your mic's gone. It'll be back in a minute.
There it is. And he petitioned the king, German George, to have his name restored. And there was conflict with the Marquis of Montrose, English lord over their lands. And so there was a lot to that story that fits the history that we know.
Well, it was illegal to even use your surname. So what did they use? What did they use if they couldn't use their name McGregor, right? Because they were hunted.
I think he went with Campbell, didn't he? His wife's name, her maiden.
But I mean, all McGregors, what did they use? You know,
what did
they use? Because at the end of the
hey,
day,
you.
Fred. I'm Fred.
Yeah. Right.
And it says they were hunted, their lands were seized, their name was banned, and yet they survived. And obviously, Rob Roy, you're quite right, McGregor, rebellion, bloodline. And, you know, Cameron is another one that's used, but the toughest would be MacDonald. That clan seemed, and everywhere you go, you'll meet MacDonald. In England, you'll meet a Smith or a Jones or, you know, someone, those sort of names a lot.
Right.
But MacDonald and Campbell, the Campbells were ruthless, very ruthless. So I sort of married into this and even though they were in Canada, they were very, very clan orientated. It was like, we're proud of our history, we're Robertson, we're Campbells. And so, you know, you're honored to take this name on. And I think what I've done is looking at Clan Robertson. As I said, they were very loyal. They're known as one of the loyal clans to Charles Stuart, and they fought. Is it Sheriffmuir? 1715.
The name of the battle.
It could be, forgive me, or Culloden, 1746.
1746. There was Killiecrankie in like 1713.
Yeah,
I believe it was. That was the rise of the Jacobites, and or Jacobites, however you want to say it, and that was ongoing.
Do you feel like are you proud of your name and your loyalty? You know, do you feel like there's a loyalty to your clan in Scotland?
Yes. You know, I have a stronger tie to the Roberts in Wales than I do the Robertsons in Scotland. As a matter of fact, I thought we were more Scottish, and it was when I did all my genealogical research that I found the Robertson side diminished a bit, and the Robards side, the Roberts side, in Wales increased. And so, there's definitely a heritage loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wear my kilt all the time, and I've got several. I like to say I have more plaid skirts in my closet than a Catholic schoolgirl. But so I've got my kilts, and I've got my Black Watch kilt. I've got my, my Roberts of Wales tartan. I've got an ancient brown, and so it's always it's fun to take up the kilt and the sword and the thistle and be Scottish.
Years ago, remember I told you I used to work in Ham House?
Yes.
And it was very active, using the word that Mark would use, the word haunted, very active. I'm trying to find the Scottish story that I used to know this off by heart because I worked there, and I would tell this story all the time. But Ham House is one of the most haunted houses in England.
Yes.
You have to look at it, and it just gives you the creeps, especially the fireplace and the floor. People have talked about all kinds of presents, but what I was looking for was I've forgotten. Let me see. I want to find his name of who they were married to, because he's supposed to be in a castle in Scotland, and it's so active that people hear noises coming from the room he's in all the time.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And I want to find this thing. It's bugging me now because I'm meant to bring this up earlier on. Let me see. Duchess of Lauderdale. So yes, that's where it comes.
Now, are you talking about Hampton?
Ham House.
Oh, Ham House.
If people Google Ham House and they find it, it's one of the most haunted, active homes in England. It also was used for the premises, as in likeness for the House on Haunted Hill.
Oh, sure.
I'm I want to see which one. Was it her first husband? I think it was first husband. But anyway, basically, she married, and she. Rumors are that she wanted to marry someone else, and the person she wanted to marry, his wife died suddenly. Then her husband died suddenly. Next thing you know, we're married. And there's a story where he's up in Edinburgh somewhere, and his and people hear noises coming from where his casket and tomb is. Have you not heard that? I'm sure I told you that story before, because
I'm sure you have.
It was one of my favorites, because when you go in the chapel, that's where that's where she kept him, and then he was taken from the chapel all the way up to Scotland, and then of course she married again.
Yes,
but I think it's interesting, looking at Scotland's full of tales and stories and songs, and it's still today, it's still very much there, isn't it? And I don't think we should never lose that heritage.
Oh no, I would like to see Glamis Castle, Glamis or Glams, however you pronounce it, associated with the Macbeth story, and so that would be interesting to see. I would like to see the castle where Mary, Queen of Scots, was imprisoned by Elizabeth. That was, I cannot think of the name of the castle. It'll come to me.
I'm just looking for it right now, because I was going to bring up the lovely Mary, Queen of Scots. Yes. Because she has, she was married 3 times.
Yes.
And she married, she was born in 1542, became Queen of Scotland at 6 days old, after her father, James V, died. To protect her from English invasion, of course, she was sent to France and raised at the French court, which is where she became educated.
Yes.
She married the Dauphin of France at 15, and briefly was Queen of France when he became King Francis II. And we just covered this with Catherine de Medici in Wicked Women. And by 18, she was widowed. And that's when things started to go wrong. Do you know about her marriages, Scotty?
No.
So she married 3 times, and everyone was dramatic.
Oh wait, I know. I know she was married to James. Who was the one that was blown up?
James Hepburn, Earl of Bothwell.
Bothwell was. I wrote a lot about.
The one that was blown up was Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley.
Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley.
Yeah.
And Bothwell was her Lord Protector, the Lord High Admiral of Scotland.
Yes.
And but he married her.
He was her lover.
And that guy was. It's really hard to tell from history whether he was genuinely in love with Mary, or whether he was an opportunist, a political opportunist. But he defended her fiercely. And then he died in prison, went insane in prison. He was captured by the English and died, and just went insane. So,
well, Lord Darnley, I always find him an interesting character, because his husband, she was persuaded to marry him because Queen Elizabeth I really didn't give her much choice. And he also had links to the English throne, which is why he was chosen, that if they had a child, there would be links to the throne.
Yes.
And he was supposed to be homosexual.
Yes.
And the marriage was quite passionate at first. People say it was quite feisty. But he was quite a jealous person, and he became jealous of one of her close advisors. Now, I believe Rizzio was the Italian guy that used to play the lute and sing to her, etc., etc. He didn't like him because he was with her all the time, incredibly jealous.
The Italian dude.
Of basically shagging this poor guy and getting pregnant by him. And in 1566, Darnley and conspirators brutally murdered Rizzio in front of a very pregnant Mary, which I cannot imagine how that
they came in and just stabbed him to death.
multiple
men.
And then obviously wanted to get rid of Darnley because apparently, I believe he got something like syphilis, or he had the pox or something like that, because he was kept away from people because he had all this stuff going on. And I thought, how are we going to get rid of him? That's what we'll do.
Did he have a deformity? Did he not have a ghastly limp from something?
It's been portrayed in some movies that he did. I actually don't know on that, but I think he was murdered.
I saw some drawings from the day where they had done their so-called forensics of 400 years ago.
Yeah.
But after the building was blown up, and they showed in the diagrams, they showed Lord Darnley's body was found here in the garden. It had blown him from the house all the way out.
Yeah, because it was, wasn't it? And interesting, when I think he had some idea this was going to happen to him. I think there is some sort of record that he knew that this was happening, and he tried to get out, and sadly didn't. And obviously, when Elizabeth found out that Lord Darnley had been killed, or rather murdered, that didn't go down. And obviously believed James Hepburn, what an interesting name, 4th Earl of Bothwell, was accused of killing him. That's the one you're talking about, isn't it?
They said they thought he was behind it.
Well,
and then, of course, he went on to marry Mary.
He wanted the crown, babe.
He did.
He wanted the jewels.
He did. He was ambitious. Mm-hmm. But can an ambitious guy like Hepburn, Bothwell, could he also actually have loved Mary? Because there was a lot of history written about him that he truly loved her.
Yes.
And there's a lot of history written about him that he was an opportunist. So
he was complete opposite, wasn't he, of Lord Darnley? He was very manly, very, come in and smack you in the faces, look at you. And I think Lord Darnley he was actually, they manipulated Lord Darnley, a lot of the lords, because what they wanted, eventually what they wanted was the child from Mary. That's all they wanted, was a male heir. So he was really, now he got her pregnant, as long as the kid survived, they really weren't that bothered. And she married him without the Queen's permission, even though she was Queen of Scots. She still had to go to Elizabeth. And so a lot of people thought, well, you're guilty. Your new husband has killed your previous husband. So either you were complicit or manipulated or forced. I mean, I guess we will never know that story, what happened.
We really won't. And didn't Elizabeth, because actually Mary of the Scots almost had a stronger claim to the English throne than did Elizabeth. And Elizabeth kept her imprisoned for almost 20 years.
Yes, she did.
In, it almost came to me, the castle. In the castle.
Okay, I understand. I mean, Mary came from Queen of Scots.
Farthing way.
Margaret of England's. She was her grandchild, wasn't she? Was it grandchild or child? I can't remember. But either way, she was, because they thought Elizabeth was illegitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Of Anne Boleyn and the marriage. That's why everybody thought Elizabeth was the bastard queen.
Well, they kept trying to prove that over and over again,
And Mary was Catholic, where Elizabeth was Protestant.
Yes.
So when you're quite right, 4th Earl of Bothwell was captured. She fled to England, Mary, and thought she would be protected by her cousin, Elizabeth, which was her big mistake, because Elizabeth saw her as a threat to the English throne.
Yes.
because she had this Catholic following, and she spent 19 years imprisoned in England.
Yes.
That's a hell of 20 years of your life.
I know. And she was young when she was imprisoned.
She was.
She was only in her early 40s, wasn't she, when she was executed?
Yeah, because in the end, everybody kept saying to Elizabeth, you're going to have to get rid of her. While she's alive, she's a threat, right? She's always going to be a threat. She didn't want to kill Mary because she didn't want to martyr her to the Catholic cause. And secondly, she was like, I don't want to kill a queen, because if I kill a queen, somebody could kill me, right? Because I've killed a queen. And obviously Elizabeth was kind of persuaded.
Yes.
Signed a bit of paper that was her death warrant and said, but don't send it. Hold on to it. Don't send it. Because Elizabeth was known for changing her mind quite a lot. She would make a decision, change it. A bit like, her father, really. But
right.
But eventually, somehow that bit of paper found its way during the night up to Scotland, and to where Mary was. And unfortunately, they didn't care that Scotland didn't care that Mary was going to be killed, because they had the child. So they weren't bothered. They were like, do what you want with her. We've got the heir, right?
And she had a lot of resistance from like John Knox.
Yeah.
And who led the Covenanters against her. Fiery minister who believed in conversion by the sword.
Sure.
And he was Protestant. She was Catholic, so she had all of that conflict. So, yes. And
I also think as well, back then, two queens running two powerful countries, that women were not supposed to be, let's just look at that woman's side for it.
Right.
Women weren't supposed to be powerful. And men had to kind of like, we've got to like kowtow to them. So really both women were powerful and they had authority, but Elizabeth was the stronger out the two.
Yes.
And obviously I just wanted to look at her death because it didn't go as planned, did it?
It didn't go well.
Not
and she kind of thought Elizabeth teetered on this, like you said. She almost thought Elizabeth was going to grant her clemency, pardon her.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth really struggled with this decision.
No.
But she was, like you say, forced into doing it by her advisors.
Yeah.
And all those around her said, you have to do this.
It's a threat.
You don't want. Right.
It's a threat.
And she really did not want to do it, but was forced into it.
Well, Elizabeth had so many attacks against her, like, some assassination attacks. And what they discovered, that Mary, Queen of Scots, was sending out secret messages to people trying to get a rebellion for her to be taken and taken down to England. And so this is why they persuaded Elizabeth to do this bit of paper, which she did. Please don't send it. I'll think about it. They sent it. And
yes,
she was a threat. She was a Catholic figurehead. She had a claim to the English throne. She was a magnet for plots. And the castle she was executed in on the 8th of February, which we just passed that date, 8th of February, 1587, was Fotheringhay Castle.
That's it. I was trying to come up with that name. It was bumbling through my head. And I was thinking that was where she was in prison. But she was in prison like 6 different castles over the years.
Yeah.
But Fotheringhay.
Yeah, she was
where she was
and she was 44 when she died. I mean, that's really awful, really. And we both know the story of how she was executed. She entered the hall in black, mourning attire, very calm, in control, regal, And then when she took off her garment, what was the color underneath?
Red.
It was red.
Red. She wore a red dress to her execution.
Because it symbolized martyrdom in the Catholic faith, because they all wear red, don't they? All the priests and etc. Bishops, etc. They all wear, cardinals. They all wear the red. I mean, that was basically up yours to England, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was like, you're going to take my life. I've got no control, but I'm going out.
Now, was it Mary? Are you getting to this about the sword swipe itself?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't want to steal your thunder here.
Go for it. Go for it.
Well, didn't they have to go twice? Because isn't the story that the executioner was so, you could say, nervous or didn't want to do that, but this was his job. He's paid to do it, and he got drunk the night before. I thought I had heard that, and
I think that was Oliver. What was his name? Thomas Cromwell. I have a feeling that was the one who was drunk. They didn't kill her, so nothing was planned. So because Elizabeth had written that letter saying don't do it, and then they took it up and said there's the Queen's signature.
Yep.
All of a sudden it was like, you're going to die, and it's going to be today. So it wasn't planned. So literally this guy was like, you're going to she wasn't given a sword, she was given an axe.
He pushed the letter aside from Elizabeth and said, nobody sees this yet. This is, we carry through. And
actually, Scotland in some ways, people say, conspired with England to say, if you make, James your heir and join or whatever, your heir, because Elizabeth Ummen who her heir was, you can have Mary, you can have her.
Right.
You don't want her. So really, she had no power whatsoever. And I always feel sorry for the little dog, because she had a little dog with her.
Yes.
And that dog must have been so scared, and because the hall was full, and he went underneath her skirts, and she apparently said, I die a Catholic martyr.
Yes.
And when she placed her head down, he needed 2 blows. So she'd have felt, absolutely.
Yeah, well, imagine going through that and he doesn't kill you right away. He has to take a second swing.
You wouldn't be able to probably say much, but you would have that. They say that, no one ever says that she screamed or anything, but the worst thing was when they do with all executions back then, they would lift the head.
Yes.
And show, here is the head of a traitor. Well, when they picked up Mary's head, her wig came off.
Yes.
Imagine her head dropped.
Yes. And rolled.
And her real hair underneath was short and grey, and her little dog was hiding under her skirts, covered in her blood. And apparently, Elizabeth went absolutely nuts when she heard that they had killed Mary, and she was, and apparently it shocked Europe, because it was like, you've killed a queen.
Yeah.
You've assassinated your cousin and queen. And I was thinking about that when we were talking about clans and everything like that, and how loyal Scotland is apparently to its clan, not so to their queen that time.
Yeah. No. So there was too much political intrigue, too much political playing behind the scenes. So
I think also, if you think about it, the irony is James VI of Scotland, her son, later became James I of England. So Mary's bloodline inherited the English throne anyway. It was Henry VIII's sister's grandchild that actually inherited, I believe, the throne. But I think why people go on about Mary, Queen of Scots, was she didn't die quietly. It was obviously quite awful.
Right.
And her death was a political statement. She didn't beg. She didn't convert. She refused to convert. And she apparently showed no fear. Oh, what a woman. I'd have been terrified.
Yeah. And isn't there something where Fantastic Cosplay just said in the chat room, didn't Mary orchestrate an attack on Elizabeth first, which then forced Elizabeth's hand? There was an attack, and Mary denied having anything to do with this conspiracy. And that's where the casket letters came in, where she had the little casket or case that had all her letters in it. They couldn't prove that she was behind it, but they made it fit. Now, wasn't there something recently? It was not long ago. It was over this last 6 months, maybe. I heard something in history in England where they were talking about there has been uncovered more substantial proof that Mary was actually behind the conspiracy to kill Elizabeth.
I wouldn't put it past her.
They found letters that nobody had known existed.
Yeah.
Just in the last 6 months or so. So.
I mean, she, first of all, didn't believe in her cousin's religion.
Right.
She was Protestant, and she didn't believe in that religion. So she saw that what she was wrong. Secondly, she believed she was the rightful heir.
Yes.
And Elizabeth was a bastard, although she was mentioned and named in Henry VIII's will as the next one to take the throne after Edward, Mary, and then Elizabeth.
Yes.
So quite rightly, she came to the throne because it was Henry's will, and they stuck to Henry's will, Henry VIII's will. But Mary didn't see that. But Scotland didn't really care, because they were like, no, you can have the Queen because we've got the son. And obviously, the interesting story, before we finish, because we're come down to it, is that there's a really famous story about Mary, Queen of Scots' son, and everybody knows about the gunpowder plot.
Yes.
Was it gunpowder, treason, and plot, right?
Yes. With you're talking about Guy Fawkes?
Guy Fawkes.
Yeah.
And James, the interesting character, James, homosexual, and he became King of Scotland at 13 months, raised by Protestants, while his mother was imprisoned. When Elizabeth died, it was as Mary's son and great-grandson of Henry VII, he inherits the English throne.
Right.
And it's called the Union of Crowns. James VI of Scotland, James I of England, one man, two kingdoms. So he's quite powerful now. He's joined the United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom, yes.
So he was, and he's interesting because all the witch trials and everything comes under him as well. He's a really interesting guy, and we maybe have to look at him a bit further. But very interesting.
What is really interesting about him, not only was he responsible for the writing of the King James Bible,
that's right,
which millions of houses in America have them, he was also responsible, he was behind the writing of the Malleus Maleficarum, which was the anti-witch book. About that thick.
His own witch book, didn't he?
Yeah. And he was actually terrified to death of witchcraft, and he believed it was being used against him. And he was, from accounts that I had read, sometimes visibly terrified at the mention of witchcraft. And so he had this book written, which is all a lot of BS. But when you think about it,
he went to the witch trials to actually interrogate women, and believe that he knew if they were a witch or not, because he married Anne of Denmark, and her crossing to come over and marry him was delayed by storms. Well, not it's the Atlantic. Anyone who knows the Atlantic knows how bad that crossing is. I mean, you've got to be one brave person. But apparently it was delayed, and it was a bad crossing. Someone told him that witches or women had said, we curse the marriage, we've cursed you. Hence why he got involved, because he believed there was the divine right of kings.
Right.
But it's interesting that through talking about the clans and then going into Mary, Queen of Scots, and then into James the First of England, James the Sixth, we then bring in what came into the witch trials in Scotland and in England.
Yes.
And also the gunpowder plot. What an interesting family.
Yeah. Yeah. Just all kinds of history right there.
It's kind of like, you know, and the thing is, I don't think we've ever covered the gunpowder plot. Did we ever do Guy?
No, we didn't. We've mentioned it before, Guy Fawkes Day and the gunpowder plot.
Yeah.
And man, he would have done so much better in life if he had actually been able to carry it off. Because the fact that he failed at it led to torture and all before his execution.
He wasn't even supposed to be there. He was brought in to guard that night, and they caught him. And because that's where the V for Vendetta gets that mask and everything.
Oh, yes.
Because it was what they used, the King James, and they all had the pointy beards, didn't they?
Yes.
I mean, James the First apparently used to like to have a lot of baths, which was kind of interesting. Socially awkward.
At least he was clean.
Wow, given what he was up to, Scotty, I'm imagining.
Right.
Because the Queen would walk into his room, and he'd be fornicating with the young men, and there would be people having sex in corners. You know, it was all going
orgies in his room. Yeah,
but he could do what he want, but outside that,
this is the guy who had the King James Bible commissioned.
Exactly.
So he was quite an individual.
So we might have to look at doing about James and then going into the gunpowder plot. And then also that leads into, I mean, we covered that in Wicked Women a while ago now. Interesting, I never knew that James the First actually went in, interrogated women, and actually thought he had his own way of actually saying this is a witch. Not realizing that these women were tortured and persuaded under torture and starved, kept in the dark, and had all kinds of terrible things done to them before they actually said, yeah, it was me. So Scotland has some of the most bloody witch trials as well. In some ways, they were worse than England. They really were. Right. So interesting to look at. So, you know, Mary died for the claim, and James quietly inherited it by sacrificing his mother. And I think that's an interesting story. And as Scottish and English myself, very much I love all that intrigue and drama.
Yes.
When you come over here, we'll have to go up there.
That would be a lot of fun. That's what I want to do. I want to go see some things. So.
Well, it's been so nice to chat with you, and this is the subject.
It's been great.
We wanted to just come back with like a bit of a tale about Robertson, and you know, and also, you know, talking to warriors. Even sitting here with you, I remember saying to you months and months ago, "We're going to do this. We're going to get back."
Yes.
And you were like, well, I don't know. You know, you were so ignorant, and now here you are.
Well, it took me a while to get back on my feet. And so, you know, once all that started falling together, that became a real conversation again. So
it did. And we definitely wanted to come back different. We wanted to come back and maybe not just do all the relationship stuff as well, but maybe you and I both love history. And I really look forward to when you come over to the old Isle and we get to it. And Mark, I'm sure
I look forward to seeing Mark.
Yeah, it would be great. But, you know,
we'll all go on a ghost hunt together.
Oh, don't you mean like, what does he call it? Paranormal investigation.
Yes. That's the hoity-toity of ghost hunt. So,
and of course, next time you get the lead next time, honey.
I get the lead next time.
I have the lead now, but now you get the lead. So we will be back on the let me get this right, 26th of February.
26th of February. Is that 2 weeks from today?
It is.
That's 2 weeks from today.
And we decided to do that because you have little ones, or I shouldn't say little, but
yes,
children.
I have my teenagers that come here every other week.
Yeah.
Week on, week off, Monday to Monday. And this is their off week. They're not here, so it's very quiet here. And stately and quiet.
Peace and quiet.
What's that?
Peace and quiet.
Peace and quiet, yes. And they're actually pretty good. When they were all here, they'd have their friends over all the time. You remember that little video I posted that showed I had 8 teenagers in the cab of my pickup truck.
That's so cool.
And ranging in age from 11 to 17, and 4 boys and 4 girls, and they all came over here and hung out. They wanted to come and hang at Dad's the Saturday before they were coming on Monday, and they all you'd almost not know they were here. Except we had all the girls. Little anecdote, I've got a door right over there that goes down to the basement. Not much of a basement here. This is a 115-year-old house.
Wow.
And so it's all the old stonework down there. And it's just small. It's furnace and water softener and things like that. Or water heater. And the girls would all the younger girls, Ellery's age, they all had flashlights. And they're all going down the stairs. We're bringing our flashlights because the light keeps going out on us. And then they'd shriek and they'd run up the stairs and say, "There's ghosts down there, Dad. There's ghosts down there." And then they said there was a little door, and they took pictures of it. A little door down there. And we opened it up, and there's tunnels. There's miles of tunnels under your house. I said, "Miles under my house?" I said, "Wow." So I said, "Did you go in?" "No, we're not going in there." So it's very interesting. I'm going to have to go down and find out what that was.
You know, I love a house with a history.
Yeah.
Because you feel the energy and I remember when you first showed me that house, I was like, I really like the energy.
Yeah.
And there's a very fine lamp behind you, I must say. It's caught my eye.
Oh, that is a very fine lamp.
Very fine lamp.
Folks, if you can see that,
it's
my little pyramid lamp. Gosh, some lady sent that to me.
She did. I heard that. It looks fabulous there, darling.
It does. It does. It's a salt lamp.
It's so nice because, I look back some of our shows and we had such a good interaction and a connection and a chemistry. And, we really enjoyed some of the stuff we did. And it's quite nice that we thought this time we'll share it. Like one week I lead, the next week you do. Next week it's, the other week next week coming up, it's going to be in your control.
It's like I'm on top next week.
I should be submissive underneath you as your subordinate. Yes, of course, Scotty, you're in control.
I'm in control now.
But that's cool because when we first started Robertson, I'd only just done Strangely Us with Mark. Never knew this was a road I was going to go down.
Yeah.
And thanks to Mark and yourself giving me the some tips and confidence and courage. And I loved my Tuesday nights. I loved that we did Robertson together. Yeah. We did some amazing shows. And looking back at some of the and we will actually have to move some of those as well to the new YouTube channel, because if people haven't noticed, there is a Robertson YouTube. And that doesn't mean to say that
I think most people here are in the Robertson YouTube.
Yeah.
You can see the little symbol by their names.
Yes. We need to get everyone to come over there. And this is not coming in from Scotty's Facebook page today. We didn't
That's right.
That, did we? But I think if you're from Facebook watching it, please come and like, share, and subscribe to the new Robertson YouTube page, because we're going to do little shorts and little things. And what I thought we might do is like little snippets of this is YouTube. This is YouTube. Who knew?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, everybody, don't just enjoy the show. If you enjoyed it, go hit a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And that's very important. When you see YouTube influencers and people who have shows and they go, hey, go like the page, go give us a thumbs up. That's an algorithm that gets kicked in. The more likes we have, it matters for this show. So go like the page, give it a thumbs up, and join the channel. And subscribe to the channel. And then you'll get all the updates.
And also we have a Robertson. There's actually 2 pages on Facebook. One is the classics, the classic era, and a new era Robertson on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram and also TikTok. Yes. And that would be kind of cool to do a live on TikTok. I'd love to do that.
That would be interesting. I've never done a live on TikTok, but
yeah, that would be really interesting. And I think, we should look at that. So we are going to cover different topics. I mean, Scotty's got his own show. I have Wicked Women, which obviously with Val and very different energy on both shows. And I kind of like the fact that we're taking turns, baby. It feels like
I like it too.
Here's my go, here's your go, and because we get to flirt, and as I said in the first episode, all that time ago, it's free.
That's right, it's free.
And do you remember that? And for those that say that Robertson was just a bit of fun, it's actually a lot more than that.
Yeah, it was a lot more than just fun.
It was a lot more than that because we used to do some great pictures as well. You really did some great pictures for each show. And I still look back at the one of you on the car, the one of you with the sword and me with the knife. They were fantastic. They were awesome.
Yeah, we did a lot of that, and it was a lot of fun. I stay away from TikTok, says Field Guy. Sorry, man, you can't watch us over there then.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to miss out.
Yes, but he did hit the thumbs up when he walked into the room.
Wow.
So thank you for that. And everybody else, go do the same. That helps this show.
Yes.
Believe it or not.
Please do. Because, although you've seen us before on the classic series, this is, we tried before to get the Robertson YouTube page up. And, it just didn't happen. So now there is one. We want that channel to grow. And also let us know what subjects you would like us to do and because we don't mind touching some difficult subjects, do we, Scotty?
Sure. Well, that's what doing a show like this is all about.
Big enough, brave enough.
That makes it fun and exciting.
It does. And it's so nice to see you back because I honestly didn't think that I would ever do this show again with you.
I didn't think it was going to happen either. And 17 months, as we said at the beginning of the show, is a long time. That's longer than the show ran. Well, the show ran a year and a half.
Yeah.
So basically 18 months. So basically it was about the same amount of time that we did the show. We were off the show. So 3 years ago we started. And
it's been so nice to see so much positive feedback about bringing it back because I know it's like, hell yeah, can't wait, looking forward to it. So I know because of the time it's going out in America, it's going out in the afternoon. A lot of people will watch this probably from your side of the thing of the world a bit later. Whereas in the UK it's coming out in the evening. But I really look forward to doing more of these, and I do hope. Please subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. Robertson, and obviously you can see the lovely, my podcaster hoster, Mr. Scotty Robertson in his own captain's cabin. You'll be on later on, won't you?
I will be on at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, which, sad to say for those of you on London time, that's 3 a.m.
Be asleep.
But 9 p.m. here tonight. That's 10 p.m. Eastern. And you could go all the way through 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. And so 9 o'clock Central Time. I do the Captain's Log. And the Captain's Log is usually about 10.
Oh, microphone. Oh, microphone.
We pause and go right into the captain's cabin. So we go about 10 minutes or so with the log, then into the captain's cabin. And so that's what we do.
Also, as well, I will be back on Sunday night with Wicked Women. We have a really good show on Sunday. We have the amazing Paul Allen coming on of Unusual Things. So if you haven't seen his YouTube page, I would definitely go and see it. And also, we have an amazing guest coming up on Robertson. They're coming in March because all being well, I'm going to be away in the land of Canada in Canada. 4 weeks. So, but we have a great guest joining us in Robertson in March as well, which you'll just have to tune in and find out because we want to bring different things, different energy. But literally, I just want you to say thank you, Scotty, for looking fabulous, coming back on here and just kicking ass, still being here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for being beautiful and stunning as usual. I'm not surprised there. And very happy to be your co-host here.
Yes.
And so I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we're together again doing this.
We used to call each other podcast wifey, podcast hubster.
Podcast wifey.
And also there used to be more shows back when we were doing it. There was KB, there was obviously your show, and then Robertson, and then Val would have a show on a Saturday, and then Wicked Women joined. And literally there is only the two of us now. There's only Wicked Women.
Right.
Cabin and obviously Robertson. And we have a nice little family that has supported us and followed us.
Yes, we do.
We love you all. Thank you for doing that.
And thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here again. It means a lot to us.
Thank the amazing Hawk as well for the wonderful titles that he did for us.
Oh, Hawk, yes. He did our titles for us. You're going to use that same video for the out?
And of course, I actually, I don't know where I got I mean, obviously, I might have a little bit of say in the pictures and you tweaked and we tweaked it. It was a joint thing, but he did an awesome job of it. So
Wendy created all the images that you see in there. And they're wonderful. I did this
little video, which I just happen to have, right? So
yes.
Let me just play it quickly because I
play
love
it for us.
Here, hang on a second. Here it comes. And I love that.
I love that.
That's so cool. That will remain one of our intros. And also you can see the picture behind, which I think if I do this, I've never pressed this button. Let me try.
You'd have to take us out of the...
Let me fiddle around. There you go. Look at the beautiful picture.
That is really cool.
It's awesome, isn't it?
I love that.
Absolutely love it. And also because, you know, it's nice to celebrate our heritage. Look at us.
It sure is.
Close up.
Yeah. I like you close up. Come back closer.
Come back. How's that?
I like it better closer.
Can you touch me?
Yeah, almost.
Well, hopefully soon we'll be on the same island. And
that's right.
We'll be able to, like, you know, do these, side by side.
Yes. And we'll set up a couple of mics and a couple of cameras.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go.
As Mark says, what they don't capture off camera is always the good bits.
Yes, isn't that the truth? It's what didn't get filmed. That's like you watch all those paranormal shows and they'll go, now, we had the cameras off, so you didn't see this, but here's what happened. And so, yeah, there you go.
Well, I'm going to play these wonderful thank you for today. It was my turn to be head honcho. Next time it will be the lovely Scotty. We'll be back, as I said, on February the 26th. Come and join us on Facebook and also Robertson YouTube page. Look out for all the hints. Come and join Scotty tonight on his lovely show, Captain's Cabin, which you can see on his Scotty Roberts YouTube page. And please come and join Wicked Women on Sunday on our page, Wicked Women 888. Scotty, I will see you just after this. I'm going to play these gorgeous things.
Yes. And I will anxiously await your arrival.
All right. See you in a bit. Thanks, everyone. Bye, guys.
See you.